Delhi, 1236. In the incense-laden halls of the Sultanate's court, where silk banners hang heavy in the still air and the weight of empire presses down like stone, Shamsuddin Iltutmish makes a declaration that will fracture the world he has built. Before assembled nobles and commanders, men draped in battle-hardened pride, he names not a son, but a daughter, as the inheritor of his throne. He has watched his sons closely. He has found them wanting. Razia, he proclaims, possesses what they do not: the mind of a sovereign, the nerve of a warrior. Around the gilded chamber, turbaned heads turn. Eyes meet in silence sharper than any spoken objection. A father's love, or a father's fearless wisdom, the court cannot yet decide. But one thing is already certain: someone will not accept this. The year is 1236. At the Jama Masjid of Delhi, beneath a sky white with winter light, something unprecedented unfolds. Razia Sultan, daughter of Iltutmish, heir to the Sultanate, emerges without veil, without purdah, her face open to the sun and to 10,000 eyes. She wears a qabah, the tunic of a soldier, and rides atop her war elephant with the measured authority of a general reviewing his troops. The crowd surges forward: merchants, scholars, common men who have never seen their ruler's face. And what ripples through them is neither scandal nor outrage, but recognition. A sovereign stands before them, unmasked and unashamed. But in the marble corridors of distant courts, among the Turkish emirs whose power depends on shadows and veils, this single act of visibility is already being counted as a crime. The Diwan-e-Aim fills with the scent of sandalwood and carefully concealed ambition. Razia enters unveiled, robed in crimson and gold, her bearing a declaration unto itself. One by one, the Chahalgani, the 40, those iron-fisted Turkish nobles who believe power flows through their own blood, lower their heads in obeisance. But watch their eyes. They do not soften. They calculate. Each bow is a blade sheathed in silk. She receives their courtesies with the stillness of stone, meeting their measured gazes with her own, unflinching, sovereign, merciless in its clarity. The incense curls upward through shafts of pale winter light, and the silence between words carries the weight of conspiracy already in motion. She knows. They know she knows. And somewhere beyond these gilded walls, the knives are being sharpened. In the marble corridors of Lal Kot, where incense smoke curls through latticed stone and the distant cry of the muezzin hangs over the Yamuna plain, a bond is forming that will reshape the fate of the Sultanate. Yakut, master of the horse, an Abyssinian of rare loyalty, stands at his sovereign's shoulder with a devotion that transcends ceremony. He lifts her to the saddle himself, a gesture of trust, of intimacy, utterly visible to watching eyes. The nobles observe from courtyard shadows, turbans drawn low, lips thinned with calculation. In a court built upon perception, proximity is power, and power, always, is provocation. They catalogued every touch, every shared glance beneath the open Delhi sky, filing each moment like weapons into an armory of accusation. The conspiracy that will break both of them is already being sharpened. The drums of rebellion reach Delhi before the armies do. 5 Turkish governors, men who swore fealty on the Quran, men she promoted and trusted, now march under their own banners across the sun-scorched plains of the north. In the citadel, her advisors urge retreat. Razia does not retreat. She dons her armor of burnished steel, mounts her war elephant Madhur, and rides through the city gates as the crowds fall silent in awe and terror. Dust rises in great copper clouds around her procession. The scent of horse sweat and burning torch resin fills the thick autumn air. She is sovereign, visible, undeniable, a queen who will not govern from shadows. The rebel forces are vast. Their blades are sharpened, and what awaits her beyond the horizon will test everything her father believed she was capable of becoming. The war drums fall silent. On the blood-soaked plains outside Kaithal, the unthinkable becomes real. Yakut, loyal, steadfast, the Ethiopian commander who rode beside her when others turned away, falls beneath a storm of rebel swords. The air carries the iron smell of slaughter and the acrid bite of smoke from burning supply tents. Around Razia, the Sultanate's order collapses into chaos. Horses screaming, banners torn from the earth. She is surrounded, outnumbered, betrayed by nobles whose ambition outlasted their oaths. They take her captive. The unveiled sultan, the elephant rider, the daughter of Iltutmish. Her face betrays nothing. No tears. No surrender of expression. Only a jaw set like carved stone. Dark eyes burning with the cold fury of a woman already calculating her next move. The crown is gone, but Razia Sultana is not finished. The walls of Tabarhinda's fortress close around her, thick with the smell of dust and dried blood. But Razia Sultana does not weep. In the amber half-light of captivity, behind lattice stones still warm from the afternoon sun, her mind moves like water finding passage through rock. She studies Altunia, his ambition, his pride, the hunger behind his rebellion, and she sees not an enemy, but an instrument. What unfolds next is not surrender. It is statecraft of the most ruthless kind. She offers him her hand, and with it, legitimacy. The rebel governor becomes, astonishingly, a husband and an ally. Chains dissolve into alliance. A prison becomes a war room. Razia Sultana rides out of Tabarhinda not as a captive, but as a queen assembling her storm, and Delhi does not yet know what is coming. Autumn dust rises in copper clouds above the Gangetic plain as Razia Sultana rides east toward Delhi, her war elephant caparisoned in faded glory, her standard snapping defiant against a bruised sky. Beside her, Altunia, once her jailer, now her husband, now her last gamble. Their combined forces stretch across the dry earth, a serpent of steel and leather and desperate conviction. She has done this before. Claimed the impossible, seized the unthinkable. The bazaar keepers of every village they pass crane their necks to glimpse the unveiled queen who dared name herself sultan. There is something almost holy in her posture, unbowed, sovereign, magnificent. But the nobles of Delhi are already sharpening more than their arguments. What awaits her at the gates of the city she once ruled will test everything she has left. The plains of Kaithal offer no mercy. Dust rises in columns beneath a sky, the color of hammered bronze, and the silence before the charge carries a particular weight, the silence of abandonment. One by one, her cavalry turns. Standards are lowered. The drumbeats falter. Razia sits astride her war elephant in full regalia. The tunic, the open face, the sovereign's bearing, watching her army dissolve like salt into floodwater. Altunia's forces hold briefly, then shatter against the rebel tide. There is no dramatic last stand, only the terrible arithmetic of desertion. She remains composed, elevated above the carnage, a queen surveying a kingdom that has chosen to unmake her. This is the last image of Razia Sultana as a ruling sovereign, unbroken in posture, even as everything beneath her collapses. But the night that follows will be darker still. In a narrow lane of Old Delhi, half swallowed by the noise and dust of a living city, her tomb endures. Modest in stone, humble against the sky. Nothing like the grandeur she commanded. Yet pilgrims still come. They press their palms to the worn marble, leave marigolds the color of saffron, whisper her name as though it carries weight even now. Razia al-Din, Sultan, daughter of Iltutmish. She ruled for 3 years, 6 months, and 6 days, a tenure measured in seasons, yet her legend stretches across 8 centuries. Empires far mightier than hers have turned to sand. Courts more lavish have been entirely forgotten. But a woman who refused erasure proved harder to bury than her enemies imagined. The nobles believed they had silenced her. History would not be so obedient.